In the last class, we discussed about the formation of germinal layers, that is about the gastrulation. The formation of three layers like endoderm, ectoderm and mesoderm, and these layers will give rise to various organ system in the later stages of the development. Okay. So in this class, I am going to explain about the development of the fetus and about the organogenesis. See, organogenesis is nothing but, as the name itself indicates, organogenesis, as the name itself indicates, the development of organs and tissues, organo and genesis. So organs and genesis means the generation or the development. The generation or the development of various tissues and organs in the embryo, that is what we call as organogenesis. See, there are two words. One is an embryo, another one is a fetus. When to call an embryo and when to call a fetus. See, until the development of or the beginning of organs or organogenesis, the term embryo we use. That is from where the zygote that splits develops the morula, blastula and the gastrulation. Up to the gastrulation, up to the differentiation of the three germinal layers, up to the 3 weeks of the development, the term embryo we use. It means just before the organogenesis. Once after the beginning of the formation of the organs, then we use the term fetus. The embryo, that we use two terms, one is an embryo, another one is the fetus. I said that just before the organogenesis, it means the formation of organs, it is referred as embryo. Once after the beginning of the formation of the organs, it is referred as the fetus. Okay. So you know that the gestation period in human beings, that is 9 months. There are various developments which takes place during the formation of a baby or a child inside the womb of the mother. Okay, the standard duration is 9 months and 10 days. During that, various stages of the development we observe, starting from the zygote. Okay, so once after the differentiation of the three germinal layers, the ectoderm, endoderm and the mesoderm, I have explained the role of these three germ layers. What are the organs and organ systems they give rise to. Okay, see, after the 3 weeks of the pregnancy, or at the 3rd week of the pregnancy, the beginning of formation of the organs that takes place in the fetus. So I said that once after organogenesis, or once there is a commencement of the organogenesis, the term fetus we use up to the parturition. Okay. So in the development of the organs, first we observe during the development of the organs the beginning of the formation of the notochord. Okay, so that is one of the most common character for all chordates. In the early stages, in the early embryonic stages of the development, we can see notochord, a flexi sheath. Okay, see, that is the first stage in the organogenesis. Similarly, a primitive nervous system that develops, a primordial or primitive nervous system that develops during the early stages of organogenesis. One is the appearance of notochord, another one is the formation of primordial nervous system, or the primitive nervous system is produced for the first time. So thereafter, at about first month or at the 4 weeks time of pregnancy, the heart of the fetus that develops, the heart that starts to beat, and the heart beating that can be heard or observed by using stethoscope. Okay, so where the heart of the fetus that develops in the first month. Okay, so gradually most of the organs they start or tend to develop within the first trimester. First trimester means the first 3 months. In the first 3 months, most of the organs in the body they starts to develop. Okay, similarly, we can observe by the 5th month, you can observe the movement of the baby within the womb. The baby that starts to move within the womb. You know that the baby that get attaches to placenta by means of a cord-like or rope-like structure, that is what we call as umbilical cord. Within the womb, the baby or the fetus that get found attached to uterus with the placenta by means of a rope-like structure, that is what we call as umbilical cord. The movement of the baby that takes place that is observed by the 5th month of the pregnancy. See, the first trimester, that is nothing but the first 3 months, are very crucial because there are certain chances of infection of the fetus that develops within the womb with some viruses like rubella virus, okay, or with the action of some of the antibodies which are produced by the mother's body due to some infections. They may cause malfunction or malformation of the fetus during that stage, especially in the 3rd month of the pregnancy, that is within the first trimester. Once it passes over, then it enters into 4th month. Gradually, those effects, the antibodies effects or the effects of the other pathogens, that will gradually that decreases. Okay, so where we can observe the movement of the baby within the womb at the 5th month. Okay, and also the development of hairs and gradually the development of nails, okay, and the genital organs, okay, all these things, they will be completed by the end of 6th month. Okay, most of the development, most of the organs which were produced by the first trimester, the further organs they develops, okay, and further changes, gradually the structural changes were observed in the fetus, okay. So by the end of the 5th month, the hairs and the nails, okay, and the genital organs gradually they develops, okay. So by the end of the 7th month, most of the organs which were completely developed in the baby, okay, it means the organogenesis that has completed in the baby, that is at the 7th month. But the baby that can't survive if the delivery that takes place in the 7th month, because it is unable to adjust to the external environmental conditions, because the lungs of the baby which were not fully developed, even after the parturition also, gradually the lungs they starts adjusting to the external environment, that is even after the completion of 9 months, that is after the delivery also, the lungs they still develops. But most organs which were completely developed at the 7th month, if parturition or delivery that takes place in this condition, that is what we call as stillbirth, it means before the standard duration, sometimes it is happened in many cases, we were observed this in many cases, that is what we call as stillbirth, okay, that is delivery at the 7th month, the chances of survival of the baby is very less. It needs an intensive care. You might have observed that, you might have heard that the delivery that has taken place in the 7th month and the baby is kept in the ICU because it is unable to survive in external environmental condition, as it is developed for 7 months within the womb of the mother. Okay, so fully matured baby, that will be completed in the 9th month. So then it is ready to come out from the womb. If the delivery has taken place in the 7th month, that is what we call as stillbirth, the lungs of the baby which were not fully matured, it is unable to survive in the external conditions. Even the fat deposition is also very less in this condition. Gradually, in the 8th and the 9th month, fully the organs in the baby that were fully developed, and if it is a male child, before the birth, the testicles they descends into scrotum. I have explained while explaining the structure of male reproductive system. The testicles from the abdominal cavity they enters into the scrotum through the inguinal canal. Okay, so the testicle that descends into scrotum. Suppose if testicles fails to descend into scrotum, that is what we call as cryptorchidism. Okay, so then at the 9th month the baby was fully matured and it is ready to come out. Okay, from the womb. So that is what is called as fetal development. The development that takes place in different stages. See, during the pregnancy, because of many hormonal changes, increase in the level of progesterone and estrogen, because of many hormonal changes, okay, so some of the physiological changes were observed in the mother's body, Okay, some women they may feel nausea or vomiting. Okay, some women they may feel mood swings or mood changes that were observed in the women. Not all women they facing nausea or vomiting. Some of the women they may feel. So change in the taste. Okay, that also observed in some of the women. That is mainly due to the hormonal changes that takes place in the body of the mother. Okay, so this is about the development of the fetus and the organogenesis. So here we have to look into a very important structure, that is what we call as placenta. I said that placenta is an organic connection between the mother and the fetus. Okay, so a very important thing that helps in the development of the fetus, that is nothing but the placenta. What is placenta? It is an organic connection. An organic connection established between mother and the fetus is called as placenta. Okay, so the placenta that develops both by the mother as well as the fetus, the tissues of the mother and the tissues of the fetus together forming placenta. Mainly it is responsible for exchange of materials between the fetus and the mother. Mainly the placenta responsible for exchange of nutrition or supply of nutrition from mother's body to the fetus. Okay, so where the nutritions which were transferred from mother to fetus, that is through the placenta. And placenta helps in exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. It can act as a fetal lung. Placenta that helps in exchange of gases. And also placenta that helps in excretion of the fetus. It can act as a fetal's kidney. Okay, because all those organs they were not fully developed in the fetus. Until that, the placenta performs these functions, like the supply of nutrition for the fetus from the mother's body, then exchange of gaseous materials, the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen that takes place, then excretion, the waste materials which are nitrogenous waste which are produced in the fetus, they got excreted from fetus to the mother body, that takes place through the placenta. And placenta plays a major role, that is the protection of the fetus from the antibodies and from the other infectious agents or the pathogens. Okay, so it will protect the fetus. And also the placenta that secretes the hormones which were very much necessary for the development and also for the maintenance of the pregnancy and for the development of the fetus, like HCG, the hormones which were secreted by the placenta, like HCG, that is human chorionic gonadotropin. HCG is nothing but human chorionic gonadotropin. Human chorionic gonadotropin. So one of the most important hormone that is secreted by placenta. See, this hormone is very much necessary for the maintenance of corpus luteum. Just remember what is corpus luteum. Once after the ovulation, Graafian follicle that converts into corpus luteum. If there is a fertilization, corpus luteum remains. If there is no fertilization, the corpus luteum that degenerates into corpus albicans. So the human chorionic gonadotropin mainly responsible for the persistence of the corpus luteum. Know that the corpus luteum that secretes progesterone and estrogen, so which were very much necessary for the maintenance of pregnancy, especially the progesterone. See, the progesterone, increased level of progesterone during case of pregnancy, that induces the uterine tissues to secrete more mucus. That mucus will block the cervix. You just remember the female reproductive system, the vagina, the cervix and the uterus. So vagina that will leads into cervix. Cervix is an opening or in between the vagina and the uterus. The progesterone induces uterus to secrete more viscous mucus. That viscous mucus that blocks the cervix. It means if there is a copulation or mating at that time, it prevents the entry of further semen or sperms into the uterus. In cases of pregnancy, the cervix will be blocked. That is by the secretion of viscous mucus by the uterus, that is under the influence of progesterone. And placenta also secretes progesterone. then it also secretes estrogen, then it also secretes human corticoids, human corticoids or human corticotropin, human corticotropin. So these are some of the hormones which were secreted by the placenta, and also the placenta influences the secretion of other hormones like relaxin. See, this is one of the hormone, relaxin, that is mainly responsible for relaxing the pubic symphysis and also the uterus, helps in enlargement of the uterus for the accommodation of the fetus, the enlarging fetus within the womb or the uterus. That relaxes the pubic symphysis. It means the region above the pubic region. Okay, so that is nothing but the relaxing, helps in enlargement of the uterus for the accommodation of the fetus. Okay, so that is also one of the major functions. So placental hormones are HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, then human corticoids or human corticotropin, then progesterone, estrogen, and in turn stimulates the secretion of relaxin. Okay, so these are the placental hormones and the functions of the placenta. It is a disc-like structure. Placenta is a disc-like structure, and the placenta of human beings, it is said to be hemochorial placenta. It is said to be hemochorial because it is richly supplied with blood vessels, and it consists of finger-like projections, what we call as chorion, chorionic villi. Okay, hemo means blood, chorial means chorionic villi, the combination of two. I said that it is a discoid structure. Placenta is a discoid structure. It is hemochorial in nature. Hemo means blood, chorial means chorionic villi. With the help of finger-like projections or chorionic villi, so it can firmly fix us with the endometrium of the uterus or attachment to the uterine wall, inner wall of the uterus. Then it is richly supplied with the blood vessels. So where the blood of the mother and the fetus, they meets together but without mixing. Okay, so where, that's why it is said to be hemochorial placenta, the placenta in human beings. And I said that it is deciduous. It is deciduous. Deciduous means the placenta that fall away or it goes out of the body after the delivery or the parturition. That is within 10 to 45 minutes of the delivery or parturition or delivery of the baby, the placenta will be come out of the uterus. It sheds from the uterus. It goes out of the body. That is within 10 to 45 minutes after the delivery. That's why the placenta, it is said to be deciduous in human beings. It is hemochorial, discoid, and it is deciduous. I think you came to know what is placenta, an organic connection between the mother and the fetus. So mainly helps in exchange of gases, supply of nutrition, it protects the fetus. Then it secretes hormones like HCG, human corticotropins, progesterone, estrogen, and relaxin. Okay, so these are the functions of the placenta. Okay, and also the fetal membranes, the extra embryonic membranes which were observed in the fetus. See, there are 4 extra embryonic membranes which were observed in the fetus. Extra embryonic membranes. One is chorion, then amnion. The third one is allantoin, and the fourth one is yolk sac. So these are the 4 extra embryonic membranes which were observed in the fetus. Okay, 4 membranes. So the first one is chorion. See, this is the outer membrane where this helps in the formation of chorionic villi. You know what is chorionic villi? Chorionic villi, which were produced from the cells of trophoblast. So that develops into the outer membrane, that is what is called as chorion. The chorion that develops the chorionic villi, which helps in fixation of the fetus or the embryo firmly into the uterine wall. Okay, so not only villi helps in fixation, it also helps in absorption of nutrition. Then amnion. So this is the inner layer of the fetus, inner membrane of the fetus. This develops a cavity, the amnion that develops a cavity called as amniotic cavity. Amnion that encloses a cavity, that is what we call as amniotic cavity. This is the inner membrane, chorion is the outer membrane. So whereas the amniotic cavity, it filled with a fluid called as amniotic fluid. This is very much necessary. Amniotic fluid. See, a fluid environment is provided to protect the fetus from the shock and also from desiccation, means dryness or dehydration. Okay, so where the amniotic cavity that filled with the fluid, what we call as amniotic fluid. The amniotic fluid is very much necessary, that protects the fetus from shock, from external shocks, and also it prevents desiccation or dehydration of the fetus. So where it is stored inside the amniotic cavity. Then another layer, a membrane called as allantoin. See, this allantoin membrane that helps in the formation of the blood vessels. This helps in the formation of blood vessels, where thereby it helps in the exchange of materials between the mother and the fetus. Okay, so allantoin helps in the formation of blood vessels. Then the last membrane, the yolk sac. So this is believed to secretes the corpuscles. This is believed to secretes the corpuscles, which were very much necessary as the liver of the baby or the fetus is not fully developed. Once the liver of the fetus that develop, it is if it is able to function, then gradually this will degrade. The yolk sac will be degraded. Until that, yolk sac believed to secrete the corpuscles. It means the blood cells. Okay. So the reason, because as the liver of the fetus that was not fully developed, once after the liver develops, the yolk sac that gradually that degrades or degenerates. Okay, so these four are said to be extra embryonic membranes: the chorion, the outer one; amnion, the inner one; allantoin, and the yolk sac. So each of them, they have their own function. Okay. So and the last concept in this chapter, the human reproduction. The last concept is about the parturition and the lactation. The last concept is parturition and lactation. Parturition and lactation. See, parturition is nothing but the delivery. It is nothing but the delivery. It is one of the physical act of expulsion of baby from the womb into the external environment through the vagina. The expulsion of baby from the womb into the external environment through the vagina is what we call as parturition or the delivery. The baby is forcefully expelled from the womb through the vagina. That process what we call as parturition. See, this is one of the complex function that takes place in woman's body during the delivery, and it is neuroendocrine in function. The parturition or the delivery, neuroendocrine in function. It means that it mainly under the control of the nervous system and the hormones, which were some of the hormones which were secreted in the body at that time during the delivery. See, the major hormones which were involved in the parturition or the delivery, the one thing, the main hormone is oxytocin. This is very much necessary. You just remember, oxytocin, secreted by posterior pituitary gland. The oxytocin is very much necessary for parturition. How it necessary? Or normal parturition that doesn't take place without oxytocin. How oxytocin is necessary? See, the fully matured or fully developed fetus and the placenta, they sense a signal for parturition. It means once after the completion of the gestation period, it is 9 months or 9 months 10 days. Once after the completion of the gestation period, the fully matured or developed fetus and the placenta, they sends a signal for parturition. So that will recognized by the nervous system of the body. At that time, oxytocin receptors were developed. Oxytocin receptors were developed in the uterus. By the meantime, oxytocin is secreted by posterior pituitary gland. Nice. Just remember, the fully developed fetus and the placenta together, they sends a signal for parturition where it causes mild uterine contraction. That was recognized by the nervous system. At that time, oxytocin receptors were produced in the uterus. This concept is very important for your examination. Fetal ejection reflex doesn't take place without oxytocin, or normal parturition doesn't take place without oxytocin. Give reason or justify. Such kind of questions will be asked in the examination. So oxytocin receptors were produced by the stimulation of the fully developed fetus and the placenta. At that time, the nervous system secretes oxytocin. The oxytocin that enters into the bloodstream, then it enters into the uterus where it binds with oxytocin receptors. Once the oxytocin that binds to oxytocin receptors, it causes very stronger and stronger contractions of uterus. That is what we call as fetal ejection reflex. Fetal ejection reflex. You have studied reflex action and reflex art in your first PUC classes. Fetal ejection, it means the fetus will come out, it is ejected out of the womb. And reflex, there is an action here. Once the signal sent by the fetus and the placenta, the brain or especially the posterior pituitary gland that secretes oxytocin. Oxytocin will bind with the oxytocin receptors which are secreted or synthesized in the uterus. Then oxytocin that binds with these receptors that causes very stronger and stronger contractions of uterus, because contractions are very much necessary, that forcefully that pushes the fetus out of the womb. Okay. So that contraction is what we call as fetal ejection reflex. This is an action that takes place due to a response or due to a signal given by the fetus, and for that signal the oxytocin is secreted, and that gives a response by causing the very strong contractions of the uterus that can expel the fetus out of the womb. That is what we call fetal ejection reflex. Okay. So this fetal ejection reflex is very much necessary. At that time, a pain is observed in the abdomen region, especially in the uterus. Okay. So that is mainly because of contractions of the uterus. And also the hormone what we call relaxin is synthesized. Relaxin. This also plays a major role, causing relaxation of the pubic symphysis and also the enlargement of the cervix. Okay, so that helps in propelling the baby out of the womb. So these hormones and also the estrogen and the progesterone, which were already in the peak in the blood, in the maternal body. So all together, the progesterone, estrogen, mainly the oxytocin and the relaxin, all together, the endocrine, it means that the hormones, all together causing the parturition or the delivery. See, during the development of the fetus itself, once it reaches a maturity, the head of the baby that descends down, it means it is facing towards the cervix, it downwards. The head is in downward direction. Then once the fetal ejection reflex that takes place, the head that starts to come out through the cervix, it means the dilation of the cervix is observed. It means the cervix will enlarge. The dilation of the cervix that leads to the head will come out. Then the fetus that enters into the vagina, the head of the fetus that enters into the vagina in normal birth, I am telling. Then the fetus will come out through the vagina. I said that the vagina is nothing but the birth canal. So this is a normal parturition. During normal parturition, the head of the fetus that come out during the normal parturition. Okay. So then the baby will come out. That is what we call as the delivery or the parturition. Okay. One is contraction of the uterus, another one is dilation, dilation of the uterus also, and also the cervix and vagina, the dilation, and the baby will expels out of the uterus. Okay, so these signals, it may take place just before the 10 to 12 hours before the parturition, and the act of parturition that takes place between 45 minutes to 1 hour. Okay, it depends on the condition of the maternal body or the mother's body. Okay, so by all this, the parturition or the delivery that takes place, that mainly by the act of oxytocin. Okay, and the last concept is about the lactation. See, lactation is nothing but the synthesis or the production of milk by the mammary gland, a kind of nursing the baby. Nursing the baby. You know that the mammals are provided with mammary glands, especially the females, where the mammary gland is functional. Mainly it is responsible for nursing the baby. So lactation is nothing but synthesis and secretion of the milk by the mammary gland. That is what we call as lactation. Lactation. Okay. The milk is ejected by the mammary gland. That takes place after the parturition. See, the first milk or the early formed milk, early produced milk, that is what we call as colostrum. Colostrum. Okay, an yellow colored fluid that is secreted by the mammary gland after the parturition or after the delivery. That early formed milk, that is what we call as colostrum. This is very much necessary for the young one, the neonate. Neonate is nothing but the baby. See, this consists of, it is very rich with the proteins and antibodies which can protect the baby or the young one. That is nothing but the colostrum. This is the early milk that is secreted after the parturition or the delivery. Once after the 3 to 4 days of the delivery, after the parturition, after 3 to 4 days, the milk start ejecting from the mammary glands. Not immediately the milk is ejected. Before that, the colostrum is secreted. An yellow colored sap is secreted by the mammary gland. That is what we call colostrum, rich with the proteins and antibodies, which is very much necessary for protecting the baby from infections and also for nourishment of the baby. Then after 3 to 4 days, the actual milk is secreting in the mammary gland that starts ejecting. So the milk secreting hormone is nothing but the prolactin. Prolactin. This is a milk secreting hormone secreted by anterior pituitary gland. Prolactin. So it synthesizes the milk, and milk is synthesized by mammary alveoli. Just remember the structure of mammary gland, where milk passes out through the mammary duct. So then stored in the ampulla, mammary ampulla. Once the baby that sucks the nipple, where that signal sends to the brain, the pituitary gland, again the pituitary gland that secretes oxytocin. See here also there is a role of oxytocin. Not only in parturition, oxytocin also play a role in the ejection of the milk, a very much necessary hormone. Ejection of milk not only plays a role in ejection of the fetus, it also plays a role in ejection of the milk. Okay, that is oxytocin. See, once the baby that sucks on the nipple, that signal sends to the pituitary gland where it synthesizes the hormone oxytocin that causes the milks to eject from the mammary gland. The milk is ejected from the nipple. So whereas prolactin is a hormone that is responsible for synthesis of the milk. Okay. So this is about the lactation that takes place after the parturition or the delivery. So by this it completes the chapter human reproduction. So one of the most important chapter as far as your syllabus is concerned. So in this, a major 5 marks question will be asked and other 2 questions will be asked in 1 mark section. So totally the chapter will carry 7 marks. 5 marks will be majorly for diagram. It may be for male reproductive system or it may be for female reproductive system, and also even it may be the diagram of the sperm. Okay, sometimes schematic representation will be asked like spermatogenesis or oogenesis, and mainly 1 marks question will be asked why ovulation that takes place on 14th day until fetal ejection reflex, normal parturition that doesn't take place, why? So oxytocin is very much necessary for parturition, why? So such kind of questions will be asked, and sometimes mention the hormones secreted by placenta like relaxin, HCG, human corticotropins. Okay, so these kinds of questions will be asked in this chapter. Okay, so thereby it completes the chapter human reproduction. We came back with the another chapter. Okay, thank you.